On Thursday, March 21, the chairman of the Central Election Commission, Ella Pamfilova, summed up the official results of voting in the 2024 Russian presidential election at a special meeting. Recall that the presidential elections were held from March 15th to 17th. For the first time, they were held over 3 days and using remote electronic voting, which was available in about a third of the country's regions. The results of the voting: Vladimir Putin -87, 28% of the votes. 76,277,708 people voted for him. Nikolai Kharitonov to 4, 31% of the votes. 3,768, 470 people. Vladislav Davenkov to 3, 85% of the votes. 3,362,480 for people. Leonid Slutsky -3, 20% of the votes. 2,797,629 people. Thus, Vladimir Putin was elected president of Russia for the 5th time. The election of the president of Russia was adopted unanimously by all members of the Central Election Commission. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin has been elected president of the Russian Federation. The chairman of the Election Commission, Ella Pamfilova, announced. The members of the Central Election Commission took turns signing the final protocol. The time of signing: 12 hours 52 minutes 30 seconds on Thursday, March 21st. Summary tables on the election results were also signed. According to Pamfilova, the final turnout in the presidential elections in Russia, taking into account remote electronic voting, was 77.49%. A total of 8,757,6,075 voters took part in the vote. There has never been such an indicator in the history of modern Russia, said the chairman of the Central Election Commission. According to the Central Election Commission of the Russian Federation, 388,791 voters voted abroad in the presidential election. Vladimir Putin won the vote in the United States of America, Germany, Estonia, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Australia, and Armenia. In fact, those countries that were considered to be the most unfriendly, which are the most relocated, in Germany. Nevertheless, if we take all the polling stations as a whole, 82% voted for Putin. In Estonia to 75, 22%, in Latvia -70, 6%, in Australia -53, 6%, in Armenia to 54, 7%, in the USA 42, 23%, in Washington, where the embassy is -63, 33%, said the chairman of the Central Election Commission. She clarified why Armenia was included in the list of unfriendly countries, as follows from her words: relocators came to this country from Georgia. According to Ella Pamfilova's statement, the Commission has not received a single complaint that needs to be considered. In total, according to the results of the elections, more than 14,000 appeals were received, most of them templates from abroad. 459 complaints about possible violations turned out to be real. Also, 41 cases of mass spoilage of ballots were recorded throughout Russia during the voting. In total, the Election Commission received 14,389 appeals during all this time, of which more than half were template appeals from organized falsifiers from abroad, so that we all get bogged down in a whirlpool of papers, forgetting about voters and the system. The inauguration of the elected president of Russia will take place on May 7. The next day, on May 8, the lower house of parliament will consider the appointment of the prime minister. According to Russian law, the term of office of the elected president begins after 6 years from the date of taking office of the current head of state. Putin assumed the powers of the president on May 7, 2018. According to Article 116 of the Constitution of Russia, the government of Russia, headed by the chairman, resigns its powers to the newly elected president of the country. This decision is formalized by an order of the government on the day of the inauguration of the president. At the same time, cabinet members continue to perform their duties until the formation of a new cabinet of ministers. At the inauguration ceremony, according to Article 82 of the Basic Law, the newly elected president takes a solemn oath, the text of which is fixed in the Constitution. During the ceremony, the symbols of presidential power are used: the standard, the sign of the President of Russia, a special copy of the Constitution. The event is attended by members of the government, members of both chambers of the Federal Assembly, heads of the presidential administration of Russia, judges of the Constitutional Court, members of the Central Election Commission, representatives of the diplomatic corps, and others. In general, the list of those invited to the ceremony is determined by the protocol service of the head of state. The Kremlin views these elections as a ritual crucial to Putin's image of himself as a truly popular leader. Putin's current results surpassed the record of 2018 and moved from the category of results of the Belarusian sample to the category of results practiced in the Baroque Turkmen dictatorship. That atmosphere of heightened tension has probably strengthened the real support for Vladimir Putin among a significant part of the population. This is even the genius of the Kremlin propagandists. The president of Russia has unlimited power like never before and is in good physical shape, and the constitution allows him to be in power until 2036.